Thinking about moving to Cypress, Texas? Tune in today for the pros and cons of living in Cypress, Texas. Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Moving to Texas team at Coldwell Banker Realty here in the greater Houston area. As a real estate agent in Houston, our team helps families move in and around the greater Houston area. We talk with a lot of people that have checked out Cypress, Texas, and want to know about the pros and cons of living there. So today we're going to dig into them. Andrea, what's going on?
Nothing much. What's going on, Katie?
Not too much. So Andrea is one of our lead buyers agents on our team, and she lives in Cypress. She's lived all over Houston, but has chosen to call Cypress home for the past few years. So today we're going to dig into the pros and cons. Which do you want to start out with first?
I'd say let's start with the cons and then let's go into the pros and some of the reasons why I love the Cypress area. So one of the biggest issues that I've seen with Cypress recently is that it is growing so much. So many people are hearing about all the good things that are going on in Cypress that they want to be a part of that. With that comes more housing and, of course, a more crowded area.
Traffic.
Definitely traffic for sure. Just looking at a difference between 5 years ago and today, the traffic has increased significantly in certain areas. Granted, there are still some areas of Cypress that you can live in that are very nice, where the traffic is not increasing as much as it was, say, in Barker Cypress or Fry Road and 290.
Yeah, I would say, obviously, like everyone knows, with growth comes traffic. And I think, Houston and Harris County and Cypress have tried to alleviate that as much as possible by doing, the never ending construction on 290. Now it's up to way more lanes than it was, previously, things like that. One thing I would say with traffic and stuff like that, I feel like Cypress is like a difficult place to get to the airport. Like you're 30 to 40 minutes from Bush, you're 45, 50, 60 minutes away from Hobby. So if you fly a lot, Cypress may not be the best, I feel like, suburb to live in.
Right. That you're completely correct, Katie. And then with all of those improvements as well, come another downside is a higher tax rate than what you're looking at, say, in the city of Houston proper. On average, the tax rate in Cypress is roughly about 3.6% before exemptions. And, it is something, you have MUDs out here, MUD districts, municipal utility districts, and just all of the improvements that are going on in Cypress to help make this a better place for everybody who lives here currently and wants to live here. There's a small price to pay for that.
Yeah, or a large price to pay. So I think obviously that's the average. Taxes normally range in Cypress anywhere between 2 and change up to 3.76, especially as Andrea said, for the newer neighborhoods. So new or newer construction is going to have a higher tax rate than resale. So talking about Town Lake, Bridgeland, some of those master plan communities are going to have higher tax rates, because they are brand new and they have a lot of infrastructure. I think if you're looking for lower taxes on new construction homes, and you can comment on if you like these neighborhoods or not, like Bridal Creek and Copper Bend are under 3% for new construction in the Cypress area. What do you think of those communities?
I love Copper Bend. Copper Bend is in an area where there is definitely not as much traffic because we're on the other side of 290. We're on the east side of 290 versus the west side. The west side of 290 is where you see more traffic, coming into the Katy area. Just everybody wants to be in these master plan communities such as Town Lake and Bridgeland. And the traffic can be insane in the mornings, especially with that, early morning commute to downtown. Many people still live in downtown or still work downtown and work in the inner loop.
I think it's funny you say east and west because I always say north and south. I always say you want to be north of 290. You say east.
Yep, the east side of 290 and the west side of 290.
Both are technically true,
yes,
technically speaking. So if you are watching this, please comment in the comments below. If you are from Houston, would you say east, west, or north, south? Inquiring minds want to know. But yeah, as far as taxes go, taxes are definitely higher in the Cypress area. But that's kind of just Houston. Resale homes, I feel like in Cypress, from what I've seen, kind of max out at 3.5%, maybe 3.6%. But most of those resale homes are going to be in those communities like Bridgeland and Town Lake, that have been always had higher tax rates. But again, you could see 3.7, 3.75 for new construction in those communities. Older homes, I feel like though can be lower. So don't fret that you're going to move to Cypress and have a massive tax bill. There's been homes being built since, the 80s and sooner, but 80s, 90s, 2000s that have lower tax rates. So don't fret. Number 3. speaking of Bridgeland and Town Lake, higher HOAs. What are your thoughts on HOAs in Cypress, Andrea?
Oh my goodness. HOAs, I love them and I despise them. So, your HOA is there initially to make sure that you retain your value of your home and the neighborhood. So, they're kind of like the hall monitors per se when it comes to real estate. They make sure that everything is great, it looks nice, it looks appealing, nobody has a purple house when you have a neighborhood full of brick homes, just make everything look nice. But some of these HOAs do come with a cost. I've seen neighborhoods in Cypress that have HOAs more than $1,000 a year. I've seen some that are close to $2,000 a year, but with these larger HOAs come more amenities. Bridgeland, for example, has tons of lakes and ponds and trails where you can go fishing, hiking, biking. Town Lake, for example, we've got water parks and we've got lakes behind the homes and water taxis. But of course, those things do come with a premium, and you definitely want to think about that when you're getting ready to purchase a home. Are you prepared for a neighborhood that has a $1,900 HOA, or are you more comfortable with something that has a $300, $400, or $500 HOA?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that like the amenities and the infrastructure and like, the restaurants and stuff like that's really cool, and having all of that right outside your door where you could, walk to is a lot different than having to hop in an Uber, hop into a car, drive across, across the street or whatever. So, I think that's kind of cool. But one thing to kind of keep in mind is like, it's not like high HOA fees are exclusive just to Cypress, right? Like if you're going to a master plan community in Katy or something in the Spring area where they have lots of these types of amenities, you're going to see very similar costs. So again, as Andrea said, just something to budget for, I think, if that's the type of lifestyle you want, right?
Right.
Number 4. So we talked a little bit about things growing rapidly, and with growth comes traffic. Long weekday commutes.
Yes, the weekday commutes. So when I used to commute to downtown Houston every day from Cypress, this was pre-COVID, before quarantine, just a regular day. If I did not leave my house at 6:45, I was going to be on 290 for an hour and a half in traffic. Not everybody is ready for that. It is something you definitely need to think about when you're looking to purchase, anywhere outside of, Houston proper. But Cypress commute, there is a very long commute to downtown. You don't have as easy access to, say, the Galleria, downtown district, even like Edo, any of those locations. It's not just a 5-minute commute.
God, it's not a 5-minute commute for me, and I live close to the Galleria. But I think that this definitely is a con, because like when my parents lived in Cypress, it was always like a long drive to get out there. But I feel like today, people have a little bit more flexible of a work schedule, right? Like people may not have to go into the office every day. Perhaps you can have flexible hours. I know a lot of people that work downtown or work inside the Loop and have, they live outside of the Loop, say in Cypress or other suburbs. Like perhaps they work, a flexible schedule where they come in earlier or leave earlier or later or something like that.
Right. That is very true. The other thing too is that this area, since it's rapidly growing, again with many people that are relocating to the Cypress area, a lot of jobs are relocating out here, to the Hockley area and Waller, which is essentially right next door to Cypress. Are many jobs coming up, and that is helping to shorten some of the commutes for some people that work in those areas. So that is a nice transition.
Yeah, for sure. All right, 5th con. What do you got for me?
We do not have any specialty grocery stores in Cypress that I'm aware of. We have tons of HEBs. We have your Kroger's. We have some Randall's still, but we do not have, say, Whole Foods. There is not a Whole Foods in Cypress, and a lot of us like to go to Whole Foods and shop there. We don't have that luxury in Cypress yet.
No bougie grocery stores.
No.
Yeah, and I guess like culturally, like I don't think like there's really any like H Marts or anything like that. I think the closest thing would be for like Katy Asian Town, which would be down 99, which would be like what, 20 minutes away, would you say?
About 15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You do have a Costco, which I think is a in the pro category on the grocery side.
Yes.
So, all right. But HEB, like don't let Andrea, if you're moving to Texas and you're, Whole Foods diehard, whole paycheck, Whole Foods person, don't let Andrea scare you away, because HEB, I have to say, is better than Whole Foods. Like I'm just going to put that out there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But in my opinion, HEB is top notch.
I'm a fan of HEB too.
I said what I said.
There's an HEB probably within 10 minutes, no matter where you live in Cypress, there will be an HEB near you.
That's just Texas for you. Cool. So I feel like, there's obviously some pros and cons to the cons that we just laid out. But, obviously rapid growth, high tax rates, higher HOAs, long commutes if you have to go downtown, and no specialty grocery stores. So let's end this on a positive note. Let's go over some of the pros of living in Cypress, Texas. Number one, what do you got?
Number one, hands down, Cyfair ISD. One of the best school districts in not only in the city, but in the state. Cyfair ISD, award-winning. This is the reason why people move to Cypress, is to enroll their kids in a Cyfair independent school district school.
Yeah. And one thing too, I know we talked about taxes earlier. So one of the things that goes into taxes is the ISDs, so it's independent school district ISD taxes. And realistically, like I was looking up the tax rates, and Cyfair ISD is actually kind of in the middle as far as like taxes, right? So like Katy ISD, you're paying $1.44, Spring is $1.43, Humble is $1.42, and then you've got Cyfair at $1.37. Klein is $1.36, Fort Bend is $1.27, HISD is only $1.13. So, I think that like if you're getting the best school district and you have a middle of the road tax rate, I think that's like right where you want to be, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think Cyfair ISD, from obviously I don't have school age children. I know that that's why you live in Cypress, right?
Yes.
I think that that's definitely something to consider, as far as schools go. What else do you have on the pro side, on the check side?
All right. So we are in the burbs, we're definitely in the suburbs, but I think Cypress has a solid mix of suburban and rural influences. We've got, like I mentioned, some of these master plan communities, they've got lakes, they've got ponds, you've got your walking trails, we've got nature trails in the area. So we're a solid mix, and we're essentially 5 minutes away from what you would consider the country. So you've got a solid mix. We've got the suburbs here. We've got the luxury of being in the suburbs and having so many things so close, but we take a 5-10 minute drive and we've gotten away from everything. We've just kind of been able to get away from it all.
Yeah. Well, and I think to kind of add on that, I think the master plan communities, the developers have done a very good job of ensuring that there's a good mix of builders. So like gone are the days that you drive into a community and it's like the Truman Show where it's like house after house after house and they all look the same, like white picket fence, all of them are the same. And it's just like all of these people walking around. So like, I think that, that's one thing that I like about Cypress is, and about the master plan communities now that they're doing, is they're ensuring that there's a good mix of elevations and home sizes and things like that. Is it Town Lake or no, Bridgeland has like the very Heights bungalow looking style homes too. So I think that's cool. Like, so the architectural style is different. And one thing too, like obviously, for suburbs, I think a lot of people are like, oh, like if I'm moving out that way, like I want more land. For the most part, if you're living in like a Bridgeland or a Town Lake or, a master plan community, like your lot's going to be anywhere between 5,000 to maybe 15,000 square feet. But like the homes are pretty close together. So just like kind of caveat there.
Yes.
But I think that Cypress is a place, especially when I have clients that want more land. There is a decent mix of homes that are on like a half acre or more of land in Cypress. So like Andrea mentioned Hockley and some other places that would be further out 290, further west on 290. But like even in Cypress proper with like a Cypress city and zip, you still could get like a half acre or more. I was looking at prices of those earlier. Those range anywhere between like the 300 to 400 range up to like $2-3 million. So there is a good mix of price points there as well.
Yes, there definitely is.
Cool. So we've got Cyfair ISD, solid mix of suburban and rural. Number 3, what do you got?
The shopping. Just because we are in the burbs does not mean that we have a wide variety of places to shop. And I don't mean just HEB and Kroger's, the grocery stores. Houston Premium Outlets are located here in Houston. So, any given day of the week, take a trip to the outlets. It's nice. It's an open air shopping center, so you can go out there and enjoy the weather when the weather's nice and breezy, cool. And there are so many stores in the outlets, and it just continues to grow. On top of that, we have, many specialty stores, boutiques. There's just so many different places to shop in the Cypress area. You're always going to find something new.
Where's your favorite place to shop, Andrea?
I love the outlets for sure, but I actually like to go to the Town Lake Boardwalk.
Okay.
It's very close to my home, and then they have a different mix of boutiques, so I'm always able to find stuff, and then stuff from local vendors. I love to shop. I love to shop local when I can.
Speaking of shopping local, and I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, are there any like farmers markets or things like that out that way?
Always. So Bridgeland has a farmer's market, I would say 2 times a week. Town Lake has a farmer's market twice a month. Coles Crossing has farmer's markets. There are always farmer's markets here in Cypress to go purchase local.
Yeah, cool. Good deal. Speaking of being outside, I feel like Cypress, there's a lot of parks and outdoor spaces. What are your thoughts?
There definitely are. It's again, this is more of a family oriented area. So because of that, the developers have added tons of parks, outdoor spaces, recreational spaces, just to go out there and enjoy nature. Again, you've got your trails in Bridgeland. You've got Town Lake where you can just go walk around the neighborhood through the lake. We've got Coles Crossing, which is gorgeous, to just go walk and check the neighborhood out. And then you've got your large parks. We've got quite a few county parks in the area. And then we've also got the Darren Goforth Park right here on Barker Cypress. People love to take their dogs out there. They've got a private dog park. You can do a 2-mile walk around the lake and just go out there and people watch and get your exercise in.
Win-win. That's a win-win.
Yes.
Another thing I feel like for like outdoors is I don't golf, but I hear the golf courses are good. So you've got like Houston National, Black Horse, Longwood.
Yes.
Like, so there are a lot of golf courses just on that 290 corridor, as well as further north as you get up into like the Spring area.
Yes.
But lots of different opportunities to live on or near a golf course if you are into that for recreation.
Yep.
All right. Any other pros?
One more pro. I know we talked about the long commute, but one of the pros of living in Cypress is you do have easy access to the city. So even though, you're not going to work first thing in the morning, but if you want to get out for the night, you just want to get out of Cypress, go to the Galleria area, maybe go have date night, whatever it is, we do have easy access to the city. I mean, we've got access to 290. We're just minutes away from I-10, 610, we're very close to it all. Easy access from Cypress to downtown, no traffic, just a regular weekday, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's kind of cool about Cypress is you can either take 290, back into town or hit Highway 6 or 99 and hit 10.
Yeah.
And one thing, that, obviously if you want to go to downtown or Galleria, but also the energy corridor is not far away, right? So there's a ton of bars and restaurants and shopping, dining, entertainment, just right there in the energy corridor at Memorial City area. So, there is a lot that's nearby. I feel like that's one thing that, it's always difficult to explain to people like about Houston is like, well, no, like you can like hang out downtown, you can hang out in Midtown, you can hang out in East Downtown, or, like the Galleria, Post Oak, like 2 separate areas, very close, but very, separate, or energy corridor, Memorial City, right? Like there's just a ton to do.
Yep. Easy access to everything, pretty much.
Cool. So there you have it. Those are our pros and cons of living in Cypress, Texas. If you have any questions or you're considering possibly moving to Cypress, I hope that this gives you a quick overview of some things to think about before you make that move. If you like this video, subscribe to learn more about what it's like to live in Cypress. And if you're looking to move to Houston or Cypress, give us a call today. Again, my name is Katie Day, and this is Andrea Sanchez. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.